Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much again for joining me here. I hope you're having a phenomenal day, regardless of how poorly SUI is doing. Again, it's no discredit to the coin, but it's still really in bad shape compared to the rest of the market, and it kind of leaves you wondering why, right? Well, we're going to take a look and find out. If we do take a look at yesterday's playout, we can see the price action did reject pretty soundly off this resistance here at 363. That was the previous support level, as I mentioned yesterday. That macro support, so to speak, ever since we've been in this range, right? So it's important to recognize that being above that is going to be kind of a bit of an inclination for the price going higher. Between now and then, I don't love the price action, and I'll explain why too here. Again, no discredit to the coin. I know there's some people that dislike it when I say something's going to go up or down, and truthfully, this coin proves to be a challenge to trade. There's no other way around it because it does almost the opposite of what's logical. But lately, it has been aligning itself with some pretty good theories and/or scenarios. So we'll talk about that too. If you're new to the channel, welcome aboard. Thanks again for watching. I want to say quickly, thank you very much for the awesome support from yesterday. We take a look at this here. Pretty high amount of views for my average views, right? And we can see 49 subscribers jumped on board for that one video. So thank you again for your vote of confidence and want to follow me and/or learn more about this coin or just how to become a better trader. I have a trading academy, community, and signals group. So if you're kind of curious about how that all works, it's all available at cryptocash.tech. Also, make sure you take advantage of this exclusive deposit bonus, or more important, progressive prize pool, 60K left up for grabs in the next 8 days here. Really just a volume ranking here. We got a pretty solid amount of prize pool money there available. So I always like to throw that out there because some people don't know that's an option, and it's really simple and easy to use. Bitunix, folks, they're a phenomenal exchange. Anyways, take a look here. Liquidation levels on the left-hand side. We're looking at the last 7 days here. We can see we're getting a little closer to this lower area, and it's a bit concerning. So as we talked about yesterday, there was potential for this 340 level to be swept, and it was, or did, which is odd because the funny thing is this all happened when Bitcoin went up. Okay, you got to recognize that Bitcoin was cranking right here in this range, and yet SUI is making local lows. So not the coolest, but it's kind of par for the course. And of course, SUI cranks back up when Bitcoin pulls back. It's funny, like it's like Bitcoin dominance. Whenever Bitcoin dominance moves, the opposite of what altcoins do, so SUI does the opposite of that. So it's an interesting pairing in the way that it works. But needless to say, this kind of price action is still very poor and not very good. Not worth taking along into, at least just yet. By the way, this coin's still very profitable, still a good coin. It'll probably continue upwards. But for now, if you're like a leverage trader, you may want to consider just waiting for a slightly better opportunity, especially if Bitcoin pulls back to that 95K range, which is less likely, but it could happen too, right? Anyways, a lot of liquidation between 390 and 420. I could add that up later, but there's a pretty solid chunk, probably somewhere in the range of 3 to 4, maybe 4 to 5 billion. Again, we're kind of smack dab in the macro range of liquidation, so I would say a lot of the local liquidation has been swept, so we will see what that does for us. The liquidation delta is kind of getting closer to break even, which is positive, honestly. We don't like it to be like too high or too low in either direction, so this is good. Last but not least, while we're here, open interest, we want to double check this here and recognize that a lot of folks are long at 375, 376. Oops, and if you're there, raise your hand. Just kidding, I can't see you. But the whole funny thing about this is that open interest will typically accumulate in areas, and it will work as a resistance or support depending what side you're on. So it's surprising that is actually how it works, but generally speaking, the most amount of volume at any specific area is generally where you're going to find the most resistance, especially if it's above you. Okay, so just know that's going to work against us here. And also know 363, this is that area of previous support. I highlighted this yesterday, important area of consideration for either A, a long if we get above it, or B, a short if we're below it. And what do you know? Shorts are in play, right? So again, that's kind of how that works. Not exact science by any stretch, folks. It just, we're increasing our odds of success by looking at these things here. And to any and all trolls who are, just constantly just bantering about how ridiculous technical analysis is, while I agree it's not perfect, it does increase your odds, and really it's like just really just trying to get a little bit more of a leg up is all, right? Because you can guess, you can be 50-50 all day, but good traders are 55 to 60% success rate on average. I'm closer to 70, 80, in some cases 90%, but I would say probably 80, 85 is probably the average. To give you perspective, in our premium group here, we took some nice profits even though we closed the Solana short 5%. We secured an OP long at 72% in 4 days, and a Bitcoin long from 91,600 at about 53% in 2 days. So again, trust me, folks, you're going to take wins, you're going to take losses, but the wins should definitely be larger than your losses. And most people that are long on SUI are finding success. So please understand, I'm not going to be proposing that you take any shorts today. That's just not the case. Even though it was pretty clear yesterday the price is going to drop, and it did, I still don't recommend shorting this coin. It's just too high risk of an asset unless you're using like 1, 2, 3, 4x leverage. Very, very low has to be the case. Anyways, we're still very bullish on this coin, by the way. There's nothing that's changed here, but we're getting closer to 70 in the RSI on the daily. That basically implies that if you're in a long position, you may want to consider securing profits if it's a long-term hold, right? So the truth is, price could continue lower. This is giving us indication that it might. This is not a sell signal. It's just telling us that you should take profit, is what it says. And this is a very slow moving average. And we've been above this since November 9th, right? So been like almost 2 weeks worth of trading above that range, which is good, don't get me wrong. But the realism is starting to set in that, hey, we may not be going to the moon today. We got to be realistic in the sense that, pullback could happen. We are printing a doji candle here so far today. That's generally a favorable sign. You want to see a doji candle at support, which we're seeing. So that does increase the odds of a pivot from here and likelihood of further upside. So just know that. There's absolutely a lot of silver linings here. But the problem here is we're under both moving averages. So any good trader will wait for the price action to close above that level in order to take along with more confidence. That's all there is to it. I'm sure there's plenty of folks that are like, oh, I bought the dip and I'm in the green. You were totally wrong yesterday. Well, that's true in some cases. It depends on how you look at it. The overall sentiment was right, though. I mean, we look at this and we're at 364, 365. Price came all the way down to 335. That's a pretty significant pullback, about 8%. So it did pull back as expected, and that's not what I'm here for, to tell you that it happened because I said so. It's because the charts were identifying that. That's all there is to it. And right now, we're above that support, hypothetically. Along between now and the 340 range would seem sensible or practical based on the sentiment of the fact that we're buying the safer dip. But we're below these levels here. Me personally, I would wait for the price action to come up, retest this previous support, turn resistance, hypothetically a new support at 363. That's when I choose to get in. That's just me personally. Again, that increases my odds of success. While my margins of profit are probably a lot lower than the average person, I take a lot more profit more often. So it depends on how you look at it, right? Some people want to wait their whole life for that one perfect trade. They're probably still waiting. Anyways, there's no perfection in this market, folks. You take money when you get it, and that's just the way it goes. We're under 50 on the RSI, also a bearish sign. I do not like to trade into this. Once again, we break through that 363 range. We'll be over 50 on the RSI. We'll have more confidence. Between now and then, money flow index, while it's coming up, this is not a great sign here. Definitely not a good look. This could be even the beginning of a bear flag, right? Price comes down, works itself into an ascending channel, and it continues lower, right? If Bitcoin drops its bottom, I do personally feel that SUI will drop with it. Let's take a look here at the Ichimoku cloud on the hourly, and just confirm that we are still below the cloud. Generally unfavorable. Lagging span is getting close to the price action. So this does imply if you have a short position open, you maybe want to consider securing some profits on it, because that's just kind of what this indicator does. It's more conservative. It'll tell you to close a little earlier than what you may want to do based on your risk tolerance. But the conversion line's below the baseline. We're below the cloud. So honestly, until we get back up here, 363 or higher, there is absolutely no reason to take a long. It's just all there is to it. And it's okay, all good if you take a long now and you can tell me that I was wrong later because you were in profit. But honestly, this chart is not pretty, and this is not something you want to trade into. We got a lot of resistance above us. Even if we break through this 363 range, there's still a lot of volume, and this open interest concerns me greatly at that 376 range, which, what do you know? It's right here at that local point of control. Okay, so again, all the signs are kind of pointing down still. That's just my personal opinion. Hate me if you want. I just recommend don't watch my show if it upsets you, right? And if it upsets you, you probably need either A, seek counseling, or B, stop trading crypto, because emotions do not belong here. As you can tell, this is a cold, hard environment, and if you are looking at this with a emotional bias, I love this coin. I'm so in love with it. It's just such a great project, and the price continues to go down. You're doing yourself a disservice. Anyways. Again, food for thought. I'm always going to try to point you in the right direction. It's just kind of how I am. I love to educate, and I hope that you learned something today. Like the video, comment below if you get a chance. Join us at Bitunix, and I'll post a playout chart here shortly on our Twitter, Telegram, and Discord. Have a good one. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.